Hello everyone and welcome to season 2 of the voice acting coaching series. We are starting again with a whole new cast of people. And so this is episode 1. Believe it or not, this is our very first person to join us. They might not have known that, but they do now. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Go ahead and tell us your name and your pronouns and anything you want the people to know.
Hi, my name is Daniela. Most people call me Dany, and I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm super excited to be here with you.
Yay, amazing! Y'all, I'm very excited to have Dany here. She picked a wonderful line of dialogue and a character to play with. I was reading through it before we got up today, and I was like, this is gonna be so exciting! So we're gonna have some real emotion, some real power to play with, and I think it's gonna be a fun time. So stay tuned, we'll see how this goes. You might hear me repeat a couple of things that tend to get repeated in this series that we work on a lot here. Usually we do a lot of emphasis, we work on word choice, things like that. But the very beginning way that we start this series is, Dany, I'm gonna have you perform the line for me that you chose for your first character here. As if you were doing it, you're performing, you are cast as the character. I'm gonna have you do it in whatever way you think is great, and then I will ask you about that character, what she looks like, what the scene is, her personality traits after you've done the line.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that cave. How could you?
Excellent! Well done! Listen, the emotion that you already have is wild, okay? You came into that line really being like, excuse me? You think I'm crazy? I was like, okay, I'm leaving, I'm out.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Oh yes, you did wonderful. Of course, what I want to know is, tell me about this character. Go ahead and give me the, for folks who are new to this series, I guess I should have explained this, but oh well, too late. I have, the participants give us, the character who's saying this, the scene that is occurring while the character says this, and 3 core personality traits, because that's how I develop my characters, so that's the way that we do it in this show. So go ahead and give me that information on who she is, what's happening, and what's her personality like.
I decided to call her Cecilia.
Love it.
And this is, she goes by she, her. I imagine because, well, it's what I feel more comfortable doing, performing as. I sort of see her as like a teenager, like 15, 16, maybe 17, maybe a little older.
Gotcha.
Like wearing casual clothes. You know, she's more of like a calm, casual person, someone you'd see in school, right?
Yes.
And for like personality, I went with like, she's more calm, but she has her little outbursts that, you know, every now and then, like if she's very excited or something, she gets into. But apart from that, she's pretty reserved, empathetic, you know, she's a friend of all. So that's really nice. For this scene, I even thought of like an entire story. Pretty much.
I love it.
An undefined friend of hers, her bestie, as I called it, they're on an adventure, like for some treasure. Where we can just imagine whatever it could be.
Yeah.
And from the two characters, her friend is the one that's the leader of the two, since Cecilia is more reserved. Not entirely a follower, but you know, she rather have some more confident take things over.
Right.
Because of this, she's more of a problem solver. She is probably better at like sciences or math.
Okay.
Not genius, but it's good.
Right.
At some point, the friend realizes that for them to get the treasure, they need a sacrifice, and she doesn't tell Cecilia about it. And out of greed, because for whatever reason she just wants the treasure, she actually lies to Cecilia and locks her into a cave. Wow. Well, Cecilia locks herself into a cave believing that it was to protect herself and that her friend was going to make sure that everything was all right. And sort of to protect her. But Cecilia ends up surviving an entire week in this cave with the little food and water that she has in her backpack that she probably has. So, but whenever the water finishes, you know, you can survive without food, but without the water, she starts to drink from like the water that's dripping from like, the rocks above her. So it's a literal hell. She has no contact to anyone. So it's an entire week after, and her friend returns with nothing because Cecilia never died.
Oh my gosh.
So she comes back and she regrets the entire thing. You know, she can't believe that in that moment she thought that she could really let her best friend die.
Right.
Or a friend, right? Maybe she doesn't see her as a best friend. So she comes back. She tells her what happens and says sorry, like she regrets her actions. Cecilia obviously is not happy at all with any of this. So yeah, because she's been left to die. So it's crazy. So she absolutely lashes out at her, but her friend naively thinks that she's going crazy, and she tries to calm her down and actually tells her that stop acting so crazy, like as if anything that happened was worth nothing.
Right.
So that's what leads to the line.
I love this. Oh my goodness, I love this. You have created like a whole animated show that I would watch. Like, this is fantastic. Oh my gosh. I love that you have built out not just like what happened directly before this, but you have built out a relationship here, right? This is a friend who Cecilia, the character you're playing, genuinely like thought was her best friend, enough to put her life in this friend's hands and then be fully betrayed. And the aspect that she didn't just get betrayed and never saw this friend again, this friend came back and literally was like, it's not that big of a deal. Excuse me?
I know. Maybe at the end of the day, the character like realized that the treasure wasn't really worth it. But Cecilia obviously doesn't see it that way.
Exactly.
So, to one person, she just doesn't realize that Cecilia really cares about her. But no, apparently this other person just doesn't. So it's absolutely crazy.
And I want to play with that a little bit. So when you do this line, when you performed it the first time, how did you feel about it? What did you think about the performance that you gave? What kind of notes would you give yourself?
The first sentence, crazy, you think I'm crazy, was really good. I think it's where I went a bit wrong with the second part. You left me to rot in that cave because I sort of went downhill and like not downhill necessarily, like you know how I start the sentence like really high.
Yes.
For some reason I just decide to go down, like the voice just sort of like tones down. And I think that doesn't really go as much, considering it's like a teenager where you have like voice cracky voice.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that could have been improved, and maybe like maybe like the end could have been more impacting.
Okay, I like that word in particular. So impacting, impactful, right? Any of that sort of conversation where we are using language that is specific and also gives us a very clear idea of what we're trying to get across. So when you say you want it to be more impactful, more impacting, right? To me, that means that maybe that ending of that sentence needs to be so strong of an emotion or a performance that when you're done, we're all like, ooh, like we don't have words to speak, you know what I mean? There's a moment where we have to breathe and we have to actually listen to what you said. So I like that, and I think you have great advice for yourself, right? It's always good. Something that a lot of people who I work with tend to do is they'll tend to like give themselves no praise, and I'm like, you are good, so give yourself some praise, you know? We'll still continue working with the whole line, but I think for sure we're gonna focus in with that second half. I want to build out this best friend a little bit. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to give me the best friend name. Any name you think fits her.
Anthony.
Anthony? Okay. Yeah. I like it. So we'll say that her name is Anthony. And this is your best friend. You are Cecilia. How long have you been besties?
We became friends back in like middle school, like sort of last year, sort of towards the end. But we actually started to know each other when we ended up getting into the same high school.
You sort of became friends a little bit more as you went into like the higher grades and you started talking about this treasure. What keeps you guys friends? Like, what made you friends before the treasure? Do you have the same interests? Are you like both sporty? Are you both nerds? What brought you together?
Oof, I'm gonna stereotype so much.
That's okay.
An anime interest, like a common interest. Maybe they both like Jujutsu Kaisen and they started talking about ships and characters that they like. Oh, this guy should have won. Gojo should have died.
I love it. Listen, I'm an anime girl through and through, so I love Jujutsu Kaisen. Let's go. Then what I want to remember here is there is a genuine bond, right? Because it's not just somebody who necessarily, you're like, I know them from school. This is somebody that like you've genuinely been like, this is my friend. We hang out, we watch shows, we do things. And, we wanted to go look for this treasure and we were going to get it together and we were going to live our lives and all these things. So when you do this line again, which I'm going to have you perform again in a second here, I want you to take a moment before you say the line and just, whether you need to breathe, whether you need to close your eyes, however you do it is fine by you. But take a moment and remember that the person you're speaking to, the person you are yelling at out of anger and, maybe a little bit of hate, maybe a little bit of betrayal, this is somebody who you, were best friends with. There was no ounce that you would have ever thought she could have done this to you. So take a moment to remember that this isn't just, I'm angry at you, right? This is, you've hurt me. You've really, really, hurt my soul and my heart. I'm not just angry, but I'm a little sad, right? So take a moment and feel that for a second, and then try the line again for me whenever you're ready.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Yes, there it is. That was beautiful. That last "how could you" felt so much stronger because it felt like you were almost running out of the anger, right? You're so angry in the beginning that you're like, how could you call me crazy? How could you leave me here? How could you do this? That by the time you got to that last one, it was almost like you were out of breath, where you're like, I'm sad. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just, how could you do that to me? Really well done.
Like she's about to cry because she's been betrayed.
How did that one feel for you? Were you able to feel a little bit of that sadness in there?
Yeah, definitely. I think the last one, it had the most impact I think I could have given to that performance. And you left me to rot in that grave. I think that was just delivered so much better.
Yes.
Than the last time.
Yes, it was genuinely really, really good. So I'm gonna have us sort of build out the friend, even build out Anthony, even a little bit more. So we have that aspect of you were close with her, right? This is a betrayal, it's anger, and it's sadness. Let's take this for a second. Did she come to you with the idea about getting this treasure, or did you come to her with the idea about getting the treasure?
So I actually see this more as being national news. Something that everybody knew about.
Okay.
But only certain people actually took interest into it. So what could have happened here is that Anthony, she really, really wanted that treasure. She wanted to live the rest of her life happily, with all the money she could ever dream of. And, she sought out to Cecilia to say, hey, why don't we try and do this thing together? And Cecilia is like, oh, whatever you think, yeah, let's do it. She thinks it's so much fun. But Anthony is in it for the money. She's in it for the treasure.
Okay. I like this. I like that this is also something that is known in the universe. It's not just between you two, right? This is believable to the world that you live in and to other people in the space. It's not necessarily something that's like, oh, please, there's no treasure, right? There definitely is treasure. So I really like that aspect because it makes it a bit more tangible and a little less like there's no aspect of you might be fighting for a treasure that's not even there. So we can take that out of our practice because we don't need it because the treasure's definitely real. So I think my interest here then is, even though it's believable, even though it's real and everybody knows about it, right? Antony has come to you and she's like, hey, we could split this, we could better our lives, let's go find the treasure. You've been like, okay, cool, sounds like fun, let's go get it. How difficult has the journey been for that treasure up until the point that she betrays you?
So they've probably been doing this for like a year, like an entire year, or even maybe a little bit more. At least planning things out, figuring out where it could be, maybe like specific like geographical like landmarks, maybe in the national news they gave like some hints or a riddle and they're deciphering it, and it takes so long.
Okay, so let's throw this in there a little bit. It might build or improve upon your anger, but I think that's okay for this performance because we want to try a couple of things, because there's never a right answer, there's just a bunch of different answers, right? So for this time around, I want you to think about the fact that you're hurt, right? She betrayed you, this is someone you cared about, this is someone you trusted, but also you've been working on this project with her hand in hand, the same amount of time, the same amount of energy, supposed to split the profits for over a year. You have been working with her. This isn't some little thing that you could have quit yesterday. This is something you've been doing forever. This is like that person when you have a group project in school and they do none of the work and still get the A+. Like, this is not... Bring that kind of bring that energy, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, whatever that is to you, bring that energy of being like, I have busted my ass to work on this thing, and you have taken it from me, and then you didn't even win. You didn't even get it. You know what I mean? So take some of that frustration and feel that before you say the crazy and you do the whole line. Release that when you start talking, okay? Okay. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and do the whole line for me again.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Yes! Oh my gosh! You might have seen me for loyal viewers. You will see me in the corner. For new folks, hello. I do very big reactions when y'all hit something in a line, so you might have seen me go yes. That first crazy was perfection. Oh my gosh. All of that, literally all of that frustration that we've been talking about and anger was emitted in that one word. You just fully went crazy, like, excuse me? Well done. And then you kept, what was beautiful is you kept the sadness and the almost tears in that very last line. When you got down there, it was almost as if you were gonna start bawling and crying. And that is a beautiful dynamic where we're frustrated, we're angry, we're loud, we're over the top. And by the end of just 3 sentences from that point, we are at the lowest of the low. That is an incredible transition. And I definitely want to keep that because I think it makes it so dynamic and it fits the character very well. How did you feel about that performance? What did you like about it? Could you feel the frustration we added? Is there anything else you want to try with it?
So ever since you mentioned like the frustration thing, when we actually started talking about the 1 year thing, I actually knew already how I was gonna deliver that line. I was just so scared in the moment, I'd lack the emotion, but I think it went amazing.
Yes.
I probably would have gotten rid of like the little laugh and I'm crazy, but honestly, I do think that does work because like you're accusing me of being crazy. Might as well laugh. Like, like seriously, you think I'm a psychopath? So I think that one was awesome, and I think the rest it was just amazing.
Yes.
I wouldn't know how to improve.
I love that. So what I want to do now is I want to play with the thing that you mentioned that you're not sure if it fits or doesn't fit, which is the laughter. Laughter is a really funny thing because it goes along the same angle with like crying and laughing and any sort of noises that are separate from natural sort of speaking and language. Sometimes people have a really difficult time with them because you're like, how do I just laugh? Like, what do I do? So I want to play with that because one of the best ways to figure out whether something is, I don't want to say good or bad, but whether something is right for the performance you're doing or isn't right for the performance you're doing is to go extreme with it and do so much that you know it shouldn't be done that way, and then do so little that you're like, well, I need more than that. So that's what we're gonna try with this for a second. I want you to perform this line. If there's laughter in it, that's great. If there's crying in it, that's great. If there's none of that, that's fine. But I want you to perform this line as over the top, crazy, on like 10 out of 10, 100 out of 1,000,000 as you think you can be. You can get loud if you want to. You don't have to. It doesn't always mean volume. But just bring up the energy, bring up the craziness. Go crazier than you should be, even in that last line. Don't bring it down. Keep it up there, okay?
Okay.
All right. Whenever you're ready, give it to me.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave, you know? How could you?
Do it again. Go right into it. Get even crazier.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
One more time. Even crazier. Go for it.
Crazy! Oh my god. You think I'm the crazy one here? Right. You left me to rot in that grave right there for a whole week. I don't get it. How could you?
Yes, beautiful. Now take it all away. Be the lowest of the low, negative out of 10, barely anything involved in this performance, almost so quiet you're whispering. Give us nothing, and try it again.
Crazy. You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
One more time, even less. You just don't care.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Beautiful. Even less. They're words you don't care at all.
Crazy. You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Beautiful. Now just perform it. Don't think about anything. You're not over the top. You're not below. Just perform it.
Crazy. You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Yes! Beautiful! Oh my gosh! Breathe a little bit. Take a deep breath. How did that feel going from the wildest three like crazy performances? I'm telling you to do it over and over, and then I'm telling you to take everything away from it. What did that feel like?
Oh my god, the first time you told me to keep going crazier, it took me a second to process it, like, wait, how? But then I realized, then I'd actually realized, oh wait, I can actually go more, so I just kept going. And then I go down, but because I was just doing so loud, it's like, it's so hard to go back down. But then you hit that in between, and it just sounds so perfect. I love the delivery in the end. Yes. And this is an exercise I really love to do because, you know, to find that sweet middle spot, like you're talking about, the in-between, sometimes the best way to get there is to go way more than you should, and then to give absolutely nothing, because, you know, when I kept telling you to give more and to be crazy, and your first thought is, how? Right? That's everybody's first thought, because when you're performing the line, you think you're already giving the most you can give. So when I'm trying to push you to go more and more and more, all of a sudden your brain's going, I can do more. Oh, I can. And it's breaking boundaries that you're putting on yourself when you perform. And then by asking you to remove it and go super, super low, go all the way to the bottom, that first time you do it is really hard, right? Like you said, because you're so high and you've broken these limits that you're like, how do I not care? Yeah. And that's the point of suddenly switching you down, is like, okay, I know I can give way more than I thought I could. How do I turn that off? And how do I turn it off quickly? Even though the sentence you're saying has so much passion, has so much emotion, how do you take that out of something that's built into that sentence? And it's not always gonna work. It's not always gonna be good, and that's kind of the point. So that way, when you go back to that middle ground, your brain is able to go, okay, I'm gonna take this that was too much, I'm gonna take the one that wasn't enough, and I'm gonna make something in between. And that's where we got this gorgeous performance that you did. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Absolutely. It really was beautiful. I could hear it in that middle one. You had really good, like an emotion came into that middle line, which is you left me to rot in that grave, that I think maybe is what we want to focus on further, because I think that line is the hardest one, right? Because the first two, you're able to put in that frustration, that anger, maybe even finding it a little funny that she calls you crazy. That last sentence, you're able to actually be sad and be like, yo, you hurt me. But that middle one, you left me to rot in that grave, is weird, and it's tricky because you're trying to transition between anger and frustration into sadness all in one line, right? I think we're gonna play with that a little bit. Is there anything on your end that strikes you as something you want to play with? Like, is there any emotion you want to throw into this? Do you feel like you're hitting a word wrong or anything like that? Or do you want me to just throw you another exercise?
I know that kind of emotion that I should be doing and what I'm trying to reach, but it's hard, right?
Right, yes.
Like, it obviously takes some attempts, but I'm not entirely sure, like, how exactly I would get to that point.
Got you. So if you had to give me an emotion or a feeling or a word that you think you want to show in that line, that you left me to rot in that grave, and you're not allowed to say anger and you're not allowed to say sadness, what word do you think you would do for that sentence if you could?
Disbelief.
Ooh, that's gorgeous. I love that word. I know I've said gorgeous like 20 times now, but it's beautiful.
I don't care. It's beautiful.
Yes. Disbelief is fantastic. Okay, so here's what we're going to play with in order to get that there. What I want you to do is make sure you are not surprised or in disbelief for those first 2 sentences. The crazy you think I'm crazy, right? Let's do this performance where those first 2 lines, the first 2 sentences, are just anger. There's no like, did you just call me that? There's no, excuse me. Just make it, I'm not crazy, you're crazy, right? Like that type of thing. Almost as if you were expecting her to call you crazy, and you're like, here it is. All right, and now it's you, not me. Okay?
All
right, whenever you're ready, try that.
Crazy. You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave.
Good, beautiful. Okay, so now so I get where you're coming from. So it feels weird, right? Because we're like, hey, that's a question. We need to be surprised because we're asking a question. So it feels weird to do, right? How did it feel to you? I don't want to put words in your mouth. What did it feel like? And it's okay for it to feel like shit. That's okay. Just tell me what it felt like.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree on that point. That I didn't like obviously, like you can definitely notice that is not the emotion that's supposed to go there. That's not the delivery that's meant to go there. Yes. You can't just go full on anger. You need that nuance, that the nuance, the disbelief, the like surprise. So yeah, it was weird. So yeah, in the end, I just sort of questioned myself, like that did not sound great, but yeah.
Yes.
If she asked me to do it again, I understand.
And here's the thing, right? A lot of the time for practicing, it's okay if it doesn't sound great. It's not supposed to, right? That might not be the one you turn in for the audition to try and get the part. But what we've done is we've done 2 things. The first is we know for sure 100% how we don't want it to sound. So we know that we're not doing that again. But for the second, what we've done is we've also gone, okay, I know that was wrong, but why was it wrong? And like you said, it's wrong because it wasn't enough. You need the nuance. You need the disbelief in there. So we're gonna add it back in because it needs to be there. You've tried it without it and it doesn't feel right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring it back into crazy and you think I'm crazy. And instead of you left me to rot in that grave being your disbelief and the first 2 being your anger, flip it. Make the first 2 the disbelief, the how could you call me that? What do you mean I'm crazy? You're what? And make you left me to rot in that grave, make that one pure anger. Don't put any disbelief in there. Don't put any nuance. Don't make it a question. Just make it pure, I hate you, when you say that line. And let's see what it feels like. It might work, it might not. But let's try it, okay? All right, whenever you're ready.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave.
Okay, how did that one feel?
So I do think in the first crazy, I did went instinctively to a bit of anger, right? Because it just makes sense, and that's something that we've been doing for a little while now, so it was a little hard. Do you think I'm crazy? I do think that was good as it was. The you left me in that grave, I did sort of question it whenever you were talking about it, because I thought, okay, so it just has to be a plain full-on sentence, because if you give any time to that sentence, you get into the nuance, you get into the disbelief. So I just had to, so in my head I said, okay, it just has to go 1 second, go. And I'm not entirely sure if it worked, because I know it's not the emotion that goes there. So
there we go, right?
Yeah,
so that's great feedback for yourself. And part of the working with other people, right, and practicing lines is also learning how to hear it when you perform. So that's excellent feedback for yourself, is you were able to go, okay, I see what we were trying to do, I don't like it. so I don't want to do it, right? Which is great because now we've done another thing where we can go, all right, not right, let's keep playing with it. And I think there's something I want to mess with here. So you mentioned that for you left me to rot in that grave, when you had to go the full anger version and no nuance, your brain wanted to go like a full sentence, don't pause, go quickly through it. I want to mess with that a little bit, and we're going to do that sort of extremes exercise in a different way. I want you to read through this line, perform this line in one single breath. Get as far as you can without pausing. It's okay if you don't get through the whole thing, but you are not allowed to breathe after you start talking, okay? All right.
So with performance, I imagine?
Yep, you're gonna perform it too. You're gonna start from the very beginning, but ignore the punctuation and try and get as far as you can without taking a breath, okay?
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Okay, beautiful. Another time. Do it again.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
One more time.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Oh, a little too slow. Do it again.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Great. Beautiful. Now what I want you to do, take a pause after every single word. Go for it.
You think I'm crazy?
Nope. After every
wait,
word.
Every word. Oops, sorry.
That's
sorry,
okay.
It's
okay.
Sentence.
I know everyone does. You got this.
All
Every
right.
word.
Crazy. You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
One more time. Go through it again.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Beautiful. Run it through. Just perform it. Don't think about anything.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Beautiful. Okay, tell me how the exercise felt, and then I'll give a little feedback.
So, apart from the mistake, I think it went well. For some reason, well, I do sort of understand why. It's tiring to just have to keep breathing after every single sentence. Sorry, word.
Yes.
So, yeah, but I do see, like, what the exercise was for. It was, it was probably, like, for, emphasizing certain words, or, like, realizing what downhill or uphill every word should go in. And I did notice that a lot during the exercise.
Yes, and you are 100% correct, right? One of the reasons why I do this exercise is to mess with what we call pacing. Because when we're voice acting, or when we're reading or speaking out loud, or anything where you have pre-written sentences, we get stuck in a very specific way of saying it. And it's very hard for us to get out of that rhythm without doing something weird, like taking a breath after every single sentence or every single word. I'm saying it now too!
See?
Don't worry, it's not just you, it's all of us. But yes, that is absolutely what it's for. And going really fast through it forces you to emphasize less words than what you want to do in your original, right? Because you want to give so much power to words like crazy, the I'm, and the rot, which for a viewer's perspective or an audio listener's perspective are capitalized in this piece of dialogue. You want to give so much respect to those words that often we take a little longer to say them, and we give them more strength, and we emphasize them. So when you go really fast, you're like, oh, I gotta keep going. And so you're trying to give them emphasis, but it's like, you gotta take it away. And then when you go super slow, it's forcing you to give emphasis to words like in and to, and you're like, I don't want to say this. This is taking too long. What do you think the exercise, what words did it make you notice? Or maybe think you're either putting too much emphasis on or you're not emphasizing enough? What do you think it pointed out to you?
So I did sort of realize that after the rot word, what I would do is I just go like a continuous downhill, like in my previous performances. So what I probably like now with this emphasis is that I could put more into the that, like that grave, because she's probably pointing towards it, and like she's demonstrating that like you left me there. So instead of going entirely downhill, I could do like a little roller coaster, just like a small uphill again, but it's there.
Yeah, I love this idea. I think this idea is excellent. I want to try it. Let's go for exactly what you said. Imagine that you are genuinely referencing that specific place. You're literally being like, yo, you left me right there. Like, and try that with this performance. Try the little roller coaster and see how it feels to you whenever you're ready.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Okay, try it again. Make sure when we do that grave, go up on it for me. Keep the loudness and the intensity that you have in rot.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
There it was. Grave had more emphasis on it. And I think that stood out very clear this time around because when we say the word rot and we're trying to give it emphasis, a lot of the times what we'll do is we will, that letter R, the sound that it makes is the one that gets hung up, right? We go rot and we hold it and we spit it. So when you got to grave, I could tell it was more emphasized and I could tell it hit better because you held the R. You went rot and grave. Like you hit those sounds. I think that was beautiful. I want to try it once where we're going to change it for a second and push the emphasis onto the specifically that grave. I want you to literally point. Like, I want you to be like, you left me in that grave when you say that this time, okay?
So like an inverse roller coaster.
Yes. I want to inverse the roller coaster and see how that feels compared to the previous one, and we'll see which one we like.
Crazy. You think I'm crazy. You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Yes, one more time. Go for it. I know you felt that you in there. Try it again. Give me that point.
Crazy. You think I'm crazy. You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Great. Now emphasize both that and grave, but still point for me. Don't go down on the grave.
Crazy. You think I'm crazy. You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
There it is. That was, okay, that's what I was looking for. Whether it felt good or not is totally up to you, and it can feel however it wants to feel. That's what I was looking to do, is the inverse roller coaster. Was with that point, what we're doing is we're directing them over there, and we're also doing what in acting is called a psychological gesture. It's very fancy terminology that stupid fancy people want to claim is fancy. But in reality, all we're doing is we are putting energy and your vocal energy into a physical movement. Because when we are actually angry or actually upset or actually sad or actually happy, we don't just go, I am angry, how could you do this thing to me, right? We're not just doing nothing. We are like, I am angry and I feel tension and I am upset and I'm gonna walk or I'm gonna hit things or I'm gonna move around. And so what we were doing there is we were channeling a teensy bit of that angry into a physical movement to be able to be like anger, and try and do that. So for this last little bit of time that we have, I want to do some playing with this like physical, putting the emotion and the energy into physical movement. And it's gonna be a little weird, but so are all these exercises. I'm gonna ask you to pick any movement you want, whatever feels right in the moment, but for each word that you emphasize. So it might be crazy, it might be it might be rot, whatever you think you are emphasizing. I want you to pick a movement that goes with that word, and while you say that word, do that movement. So you can take a minute if you want to try and plan something out, or you can go right into it if you want to just fully go crazy and go for it. What would be your preference?
I feel like things, especially with emotions like anger, just going straight on, like don't even think about it, because if you feel the emotion, things just work. So
that's true. That's
things
true.
Just come out. You lose control.
All right. I love it then. So I'm going to say for certainty, definitely have a movement on your first crazy and the word I'm and the word rot. So have at least those three. Otherwise, just do them if you feel like you need to.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Yes! Oh my gosh! Whoa! That turned the dial up so high. Oh my gosh, how did that feel for you?
Absolutely amazing. I'll admit it. That felt incredible. Things change a lot when you can actually, like that's, now that I'm realizing it a bit more, right? But that's why people say that voice acting is harder, not a lot harder, but like harder than acting, because people aren't seeing you move. Mm-hmm. So,
Yes. Yes, absolutely, right? Movement is so important, or physical gestures or things that you can do are so important in feeling an emotion and being a part of this. I want to do it again in this sort of physical motion thing. Can you tell me, before we do it again, what movements you chose to use?
So for crazy, I sort of like, I went more towards the disbelief parts. So I sort of like, seriously, you really think that about me?
Love it.
So, and then I did like a pointing thing to like you think, but like it wasn't really that much. Then back to I'm crazy. I did pretty much the same thing, because it's sort of like whenever you're angry, you just sort of do the same things again. You're lagging.
Yes, I love that. You're lagging. That's amazing.
And
go ahead.
Then forward to like you left me. I didn't really do too much there. It's pretty much like a filler words, though not that much.
Yes.
So then to rot, I did sort of like this. Like, do you understand the gravity of like what you've done? Like seriously. Oh, I want to punch you. I want to.
Yes.
Like you're gritting your teeth at what she's done.
Yes.
And in that grave, I went back to pointing. Yeah. So, beautiful. But like pointing like there. Do you see that? Right there.
The evidence.
Yeah. And then the how could you, the fluidity of like the movements, they just go down. So like, how could you? So like you're still doubting yourself, so you're still like shaking.
Right.
But it's more like, why? You're reaching out to them for an answer.
I like that. That is excellent. And I think you chose perfect like movements to use. I really like how they're like specific to the emotion you were trying to convey. The idea of the tension and the hands for rot is so good. I often, for anger, I will tell people the best tool you have is to tense some part of your body. Because when we are angry, we are upset. And whether for you that's your hands, whether it's, obviously it can't be your teeth when you're trying to talk, but whether it's your hands, whether it's, your feet, whether it's like curling your toes, whatever it is, tensing some part of you is excellent to do for anger because it'll channel that. So I want to do it again. We're going to do a little bit more of that extremes, except I like to call this one an opposite exercise. So I want you to do a movement that you think is absolutely incorrect, should not be done, will not work with this emotion for those emphasizations. Take a moment to think, because this one's going to be a little like, what in the world? Because you're going to want to do the right physical movements that work with the emotion for you. But I'm asking you to do something that you're like, there's no way this would ever be anger to me. I'll just give one because usually you don't use this emotion. There's an emotion of like disgust that obviously wouldn't be in this line. But oftentimes when people are disgusted, the physical motion they use is like, ew. Like a, oh, okay, gross type of ew. And so that's usually the example I give where I'm like, that would be something I would never use to portray anger. Trying to come across angry and be angry in my words while I'm going, oh, would be like the hardest thing on the planet to me. You're welcome to use that, but I give that as an example.
My only question is, should I still try to perform like the correct emotions but do different movements?
Yes.
Is that the idea then?
Yes.
Oh, right.
Try to perform the correct emotion with the weird movements. What we can do first is if you want to figure out movements and then try and perform it with the emotions that fit the weird movements, you can. But I think it'll be super fun if you're trying to still be angry and trying to still do it with weird emotion, with weird physical stuff.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? No.
It's hard.
You left me to rot in that grave. How could you? That was terrible. I can't. Oh,
but you tried, and that's all that ever matters is you tried. Can I ask?
I don't even know what I did at the end. I was like, I'm gonna conduct.
I saw that you were composing an orchestra. Can I ask what you tried to do for the other ones? I saw the beautiful heart. That was fantastic.
Oh yeah, so I tried to like, I love you, like Korean drama. I love you.
Yes.
But obviously because you can't do the emotion, it's just like, you're crazy. You think I'm crazy? Oh, I so tried to be disgusted. Oh, it didn't work at all. And then you left me to run in a grave. I seriously had to think because, like, what other emotions are there? Because for some reason, I just blanked out. Like, what other emotions are there? And how do I act those emotions apart from that? So then I went, like, forward. I was like, oh, yeah, the thinker. So I was like, I'm thinking of something philosophical. And then just like the wipe away, like, I don't care, but it doesn't work. And then how could you? I just blanked out. I was like, I'm just gonna conduct an orchestra. Lately, I've been into a lot of classical music, so I was like,
hell yeah.
Music.
Music. I love it. Oh my gosh. You started to like say it like you were conducting it too. It was so funny. Oh my goodness. that was so much fun. I know it was probably awful for you, but it was fun from here.
I believe that, honestly. I can't wait to see the video.
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna say it did because I think you already knew going into it, but does it get across how physical movements can really affect, like, I cannot be angry while I'm doing this?
Yes, yeah, it's the most notable thing ever. Yeah, no, there's no way.
Well, beautiful.
If you actually come up and tell me that you can be angry while giving me a heart, like in a Korean drama, I just say you're not an actor.
Right?
You have not taken any classes. You don't know the first thing about it.
Oh my goodness. And it's a fun exercise because it is nigh impossible to do well or do correctly, so to speak. But it really hammers home, like, the concept of, well, the next time I'm struggling with a line and I need to be, disgusted and I have no idea how to portray that, I'm gonna do that movement because I know it will work. I think the last thing that I'll have us play with here is we're gonna do something similar where it's the opposite. So it's still gonna feel weird and icky in your mouth. But instead of physical motions, I want you to perform the line the opposite way it should be done. So whatever to you is the most incorrect, not how Cecilia should be feeling, not what someone should be doing in this performance, whatever that is to you is how I want you to perform the line. And I'm not going to give you an example because it's fully up to your interpretation. All I want you to be doing is, given the context, given what's occurred, there is no way in any form that this is how the line could be performed correctly.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could ya?
Wow. So how did that feel?
Based on the context, that just doesn't work at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know how, well, yeah, I mean, how could I describe it? Like, I definitely could have been more incorrect, but like in the moment, like, I don't know, sassy, like if you changed like some things, like personality things or like even context,
right,
it could work. So it isn't the most incorrect thing ever. But I just couldn't think of any other emotion. Like, I'm thinking inside out emotions. Like, what are the 5 primary ones?
I love that. I thought your interpretation was hilarious and very good for the exercise, because that is kind of the goal, is to be like, what is the weirdest thing I could do here? And to go sassy with it is so funny because the stakes are so high. Like, the situation you've created is so serious, so grounded, so powerful. So for you to perform the line in a way that's like, what? Oh my gosh, is really funny. And I think it also, it's the point of opposite exercises is just to teach your brain what is not right for this performance so that it starts taking those out of when you do the performance the way you want it done. So that's kind of the point. I am going to, though, because you said it. You said, I don't think this is the most incorrect. I'm gonna make you do it again. And I want you to think long and hard. What is the most incorrect you can give me?
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Oh my gosh.
Do you know what emotion it was?
Please tell me. I don't even want to guess.
Fear. Of course it was another inside-out emotion. Fear.
Ooh. Wait, that's so... I feel that. I can feel how that's totally inappropriate for this line. Oh my gosh. What did it feel like trying to do this line with that emotion?
So I really had to like get rid of the line in my head. I was focusing on like scary things. It's not really scary for me.
Yeah.
But I like to imagine like maybe, oh, my sister, she saw a spider. Ooh. She's terrified of spiders. Like, so completely just remove the line in any context whatsoever and focus on, I saw a spider. How would I react? So obviously more exaggerated. Like you wouldn't just go looking back and forth, right? But like it made sense. So fear. I do think I was able to go in fear all the way through, especially with the completely high up in that grave. We're like the tip top of like
Yes.
But yeah, obviously not the right emotion. And that one I do think was the worst way to do it.
Okay, perfect. You've learned to not say it wasn't, even if you do or don't believe it. Yes. So that's pretty much all that I have to run with you through today. I'll probably have you do it one more time, just performing it how after we've done all the exercises, you really feel your best performance is at this point in time. But before I have you end us out that way, is there anything that you want to do or try or work on while we have a little time?
I think like I've learned a lot in this session. I don't think I could ask for any more. I feel like I've already squeezed you with all of your knowledge.
That works. That's totally fine. It is always okay to say no. All right.
I know there's obviously tons I could learn, but I think for now, like I'm really confident in everything that I'm doing so far.
Good. That's what we want to hear, right? This hour is just to throw as much as possible your direction and have fun. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you to the audience, whether you're listening or watching, for engaging in the first episode of our season 2 of voice acting coaching. I truly love doing this and helping people, but also just getting to play with people and have fun is the greatest experience ever. Subscribe, do all that jazz if you want to follow along and join us for new people, new things, and everything in the future. I'm gonna end us out by having Dany, our lovely guest, tell them if there is any place on the internet that they can find you, if you have social media. If not, no worries. And then you'll end our episode by giving us your final best performance of this line whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really glad I could do this. If anyone is watching this and for some reason wants to look for me, you can find me on Twitter. I go by the username DanyTR. You can find me there. I recently did one of my first role announcements, so I'm really excited. So if anyone wants to check me out, I'll be there.
You got it. Go follow her everywhere you can. And this is the final performance. Go ahead.
Crazy? You think I'm crazy? You left me to rot in that grave. How could you?
Excellent. Woo! Goodbye.